Has living in the end ever felt a little confusing to you? You're focusing on your own life, you're feeling happy, and you're noticing what's working. But you also can't help but notice that there's no shift in your manifestation that you can see. You've been told that things are happening in the background, but you just can't help but wonder, is this even working? In this video, I unpack the energetics of living in the end versus how we often get caught just thinking we're living in the end.
Can I interject a bit? So think of me right now and then just tell me what your lived experience is. Like right now, exactly as the situation is. There's a sense of like disconnection. Would that be a feeling of disconnection? Okay. All right. So there's probably more there, but that's enough that we can kind of work with. So when you focus on yourself, because each of them have had to, even though they have their person in their life, each of them have had to do the exact same work. The mind just tells a different story about it based on what's going on. So essentially, when I say focus on yourself, I don't necessarily just mean what's going on in your life. I very much mean focus on your internal experience of the situation. So right now, the situation feels very disconnected. I want you to take away from this the idea of the law of reversibility. So the law of reversibility essentially says that any energy in a closed system can basically be reversed. The process of the energy, right? You can turn water into steam or back to water, water into ice or back to water. So that means, in this context, that when you have an experience, it can create a feeling internally, right? And so by the law of reversibility, having the feeling can prompt you to have the experience. So I want you to go into the end. What is the feeling of having what you want? To notice that experience, what that feels like. And then just describe it. And I want you then to just switch over to the feeling of what it feels like now. You can tell the feeling, does it become more contracted, heavier maybe? So you can see there's resistance there. Resistance between current reality and what you're creating. When Neville says live in the end, he doesn't mean just, do a process, connect to it, and then just live in your real life about that situation every other time. So when we say doing the work internally or on focusing on yourself, a few weeks ago when I had you do the process of shifting the energy to get that feeling of connection, that's what I want you to be doing often. Like even just as a check-in to understand, where am I? How do I feel about this? When I'm creating something and I'm conscious, then that is what I will do. I will check in throughout the day. That's the purpose of starting that habituating, getting into the present moment, because then I'm going to check in with whatever it is I'm manifesting. What is my experience of this in the present moment? And then I can see, like, what's my energy? So now I know what I can work with. And I'm not just winging around. It's like every time something contracted comes up, and the trick is not falling for your mind's story. It's probably never going to happen. I've done all the things. So that's your mind. Your ego's trying to manifest for you, because your perception is literally your mind taking a piece of the past to tell a story about a current experience. It's not true reality, but we create true reality through that, because then we just invest our emotional energy into that. The ego pops up and we're, often unaware of the ego and all its tricks. It sucks me in all the time. That if I do these things, I can make it happen. But energy, quantum physics, is whatever you perceive, you collapse. And in the current moment, you're collapsing not around. And then you might have a moment where you can visualize and feel into, loves me, is around. I can feel that. Not around.